Today, what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about CBN wheels. Some people have asked, and I know there's a little curiosity out there about it. So I'm going to talk about my two primary CBN wheels. I own 4 of them. 2 of them are on a low-speed grinder. I could talk more about that probably at a different time, so that this video doesn't run too long. But today, what I'm going to talk about are the 2 wheels that I have for my Tormek T8, which is right here under me. So a few months back, I decided that I needed a faster process for sharpening knives. And I was wet grinding with my Tormek T8, but as my business has been growing and over time, everything I focus on is basically, for me, kind of runs in 2 areas. 1 is the quality of the results, and 2 is speeding up the process. And just to be also right out front with things, this is not a knock on Tormek in any way, shape, or form. I own several different sharpening systems, and the Tormek T8 is my primary sharpener. I use this for 95% of the stuff that comes through my shop. Now, I no longer wet grind. I switched to dry grinding and using CBN wheels. Probably most of the Tormek owners out there, they probably own a Tormek because they're either wood turners or woodworkers, and they're resharpening chisels. And if that's what you're doing, the T8 is fantastic for you. And the original whetstone's going to work great for you. I did a review of the Wen recently, and I didn't like it. It wasn't good for me, but I could see even where some people could get by even with the Wen to just sharpen the occasional chisel now and then. Now, is it a Tormek? No, not even close. It's night and day. I've tried to come up with comparisons before, but they don't compare. You're talking a machine that fully equipped is going to cost you $1,000 to a machine that's $100. But for some people it works, and I get that. But so yeah, once again, just to say and to be clear about it, I love Tormek. I love the guys at Tormek. It's a great company. This machine is incredible. If mine was to break, which I doubt, but besides the fact it's warranted for 5 years, I'd be buying another one immediately. I rely on it. I almost bought 2, but I ended up with dry grinding. I actually didn't need to, and I'm going to show you that today. Why I didn't have to get a second one. So I am, like I said earlier, a knife sharpening service. I sharpen knives, and I sharpen a lot of knives. And I get in home cooks and home chefs from regular, just average people. But I also get a lot of restaurants, and I get a lot of professional chefs. We have a lot of restaurants here in Alexandria, Virginia. And I'm sorry, of course someone's calling. And it's a spam call, so we'll ignore that. And I also do knives for restaurants. And they, will bring in 15, 16 chef's knives at a time. And they tend to be beat up and in a lot worse condition than the home users knives that I get. And I get a lot of really high-end, beautiful knives. In fact, I have here's some 3 that just came in today that I just sharpened. And this is pretty common for me to get stuff like this too. I get a lot of Japanese knives. Here's a nice Miyabi. I'm not sure what the Japanese knife maker of this one is, but it's a beautiful chef's knife. And I do a lot of chef's knives. I do a lot of sharpening and repairs to Japanese chef's knives, including shuns, including Miyabis, including globals. I do them regularly, and it's probably one of the things I'm the best at. As I made my changes to the things I was doing to make things faster, I decided I was going to stop wet grinding and go to CBN and do dry grinding all the time. My first wheel I purchased, I'll show you, is this one right here. This is from Woodturner's Wonders. I will put the link in to them later below, down in the comments in the video section. This is a 1000 grit CBN wheel, and it is a game changer. This is a phenomenal wheel. If you are a knife sharpener, or if you like to sharpen your own knives and you want the most incredibly sharp knives you have ever seen, get that wheel. And you can't go wrong with it, guys. My recommendation will be buy it from Woodturner's Wonders. Ken Rizza's the owner there. His people are fantastic, super helpful, great customer service. I've ordered a lot of things from them. My low-speed grinder came from them. I have a Kodiak mount system came from them. All the wheels for my Tormek came from those guys, and they're great. The wheels are guaranteed for life. You will see them on other places like Amazon and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend them. Sometimes if you read through the comments, you'll see some of the CBN wheels from there are coming from China. And not that China manufacturing is bad, but I in a prior career, I used to sell a lot of photography gear, and I even manufactured some stuff. And the deal with China, if you're working with China, is knowing who the good manufacturers are. And I'm not sure where Ken Rizza's wheels come from, but even if they are coming from China, the point is they're manufactured really well, and they're made so well, and he stands behind them, and if anything goes wrong with them, they replace it. So that's awesome. And when I was looking at other places to get CBN wheels, you would see some comments about the abrasive peeling off on them. Now, they are not meant to grind wet at all. This is a dry grinding process if you switch to a CBN wheel from Woodturner's Wonders, but they are amazing wheels. They remove material fast. They are consistent. They have made it so I honestly produce some of the sharpest knives I have ever seen come from my shop once I went to CBN. And then the only change I made was after I had the 1000 grit wheel, which I absolutely fell in love with. The only thing that I was like wanting to do differently was occasionally I do get in a very chipped up knife, or a knife that needs quite a bit of material removed, and I said, you know what? Maybe one other lower grit wheel for some banged up knives would be good. So what's on my Tormek right here is a 600 grit CBN wheel, and it looks identical to the 1000 grit, except it's a little bit rougher, but it looks just like it. And that wheel blew my mind too. It blew my mind for two reasons. One, it does give a little bit of what some people refer to as a toothier grind, which you expect. It's a 600 grit wheel as opposed to a 1000 grit wheel. But there's a feel to a knife, but there's also your level of sharpness. And they're kind of like, the things are always in balance. And there's a couple things that you're always balancing. One is your edge angle. One's the grit that you're grinding at. How you're honing your knives, and just there's a couple different things that come into play into that final outcome of what the level of sharpness of that knife is, and its edge retention and everything else. But the 600 grit wheel, when I test it on my best tester and do my paper cut tests, what blew my mind was I was getting test cut scores, especially with the best tester, almost as close to my 1000 grit wheel. And especially with like Japanese knives, it was amazing. You know, I could sharpen a Japanese knife that came in really chipped up, and maybe I got a score of, let's say, 50 on a 600 grit wheel, which I didn't expect it would be that low. And then if I still wanted to, I could change out to the 1000 grit wheel, do 5 or so passes on the 1000 grit wheel, and cut my best tester score in half, almost consistently. I've done it several times, you know, and if it comes out as 100 on the 60 and then switch to the 1000, you're probably going to cut it down to about a 50. If it comes as a 50, the lowest score I've seen to date is a 19 on my best tester. But I mean, these are extremely sharp knives and scores we're talking on the best tester. And so let me just quick show you the other thing that I love about it, and that is by doing the CBN wheel thing, because at one point I was thinking, like I said, if you're having 2 Tormek machines and going from one machine to the other, but it actually made sense to not do that because it's so easy to change the wheel. Since I'm not dealing with the water trough and having to move that, and I'm gonna just angle my camera down here a little bit more so you can see it. Now I'm gonna show you how quick I can change a wheel out. And that's the great thing is, if I have a knife and a jig and everything and I want to go from 600 to 1000, I just leave everything the same and change the wheel out, and the angle is going to be perfect. So all you do is you do a twist, you push forward with your honing wheel and pull back with your grinding wheel, and that loosens the quick nut. And you know, I don't know, we'll see, probably maybe 10 or 15 seconds to change, but here we go. So quick little twist, remove the nut. I keep my other wheel right here. Pop that on, put the nut back on, start it, self-torques. I don't know how long it was, but it wasn't very long, right? And that's how quick you can change that wheel out. And I'll just show that one more time. Quick twist, nut off. Kind of working on my Indie pit team speed here. Tighten that, run it to torque it. Done. And now that wheel's changed. And I'll pop this back up a little bit so you can see me. But that's it. So I've made that switch to CBN. I'm going to post some other videos of knife tests and cut tests, and I shot one today of my full kind of process of what I go through from when a knife comes in. The only thing different I did in that video was I actually tested the knives as they came in to see what their scores were, and then compared to when I was finished with them and when they leave the shop. So that's it for that. And like I said, wood turners wonders. If you're thinking about CBN, Ken Rizza, if you got questions about it, give him a call. His people are super helpful. I've talked to a couple different people there, and they've always been wonderful. I have had to use their customer service. At one time, when I ordered my Kodiak mounting system, I had a broken part that showed up broken. Nothing, probably not their fault at all, other than was shipping that looked like it really got banged around. No questions asked. I sent them a picture and bang. 2 days later, I had the new part. They actually sent an entire new, the entire thing, and just had me send the old one back. And so they've proven to me they're great customer service. They've always taken their time to answer questions and stuff. So they're my big recommendation for CBN if you're thinking about CBN. And I'll just give you a quick shot of the jet low speed grinder, and then I'll end this video, and maybe the next one I'll do about the jet low speed grinder, which I mostly use for doing cleavers and if I have to remove a lot of material. So the left side's a 180 grit and the right side is a 350 grit. That is a 4-in-1 wheel from Wood Turners Wonders on a jet low speed grinder. And that's it. So we're gonna call it a day. Once again, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. There's the shop dog, Fredo, resting. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for checking it out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. If you're interested in seeing my process for sharpening, stay tuned for my next video.